Go ahead and get started. All right, we're going to start with our next interview for Momocon. We have Damien Haas and have the first question coming from one of our outlets.
Thank you. And where would you prefer I look when answering?
You can look directly at whoever is talking to you. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey, Mark from Blurography. My question is, what is the difference between voice acting for anime versus video?
That's a great question. Anime, you're usually, at least as an English voice actor, you're usually much more restricted by what is already done. There's a lot of timing that needs to be taken into consideration and matching mouth flaps and things like that. Sometimes video games have that aspect, but other times it's just much more free in that way. I think they're both a heck of a lot of fun. I think with that freedom that video games brings, it's slightly my preference. But yeah, also anime is much more story driven. Video games has that as well, but depending on the game, you might have to take it section by section where you'll do a little bit of story and then you'll spend an hour only doing combat sounds or only doing, you know, small things that you might hear a character say in a hallway like, hello? Yes? Good to see you. What's up? Talk to me. Like all of those things down the line. Yeah.
JB, JB versus the world.
Hi, JB.
How you doing? All right, so born in Germany,
Yes.
came to the States.
Raised in Georgia.
Hey, there you go, the ATL. But what is your nerdy origin story going from Germany to here to voice acting?
Yeah. I was a military brat, and that's what brought me from Germany to Georgia. Thankfully, my family stopped moving so much once we got to Georgia. I always loved video games. I think I started looking at anime thanks to my older sister. She loved Slayers. She loved Magic Knight Ray Earth. She loved Sailor Moon. Those were the first things that I saw and, you know, didn't even think of it as a separate genre. They were just my cool older sister shows. So recently I recorded in a studio that had a signed Slayers poster in front of it. It turns out that's where they recorded it, so it felt very full circle for me. But the origin story is I loved that kind of genre and I had very supportive parents. I was in a very lucky position where whatever I wanted to do, they'd support me, but I have to do my best in it. So I enjoyed theater, as a kid. I did a lot of community shows. I enjoyed on-camera acting and started auditioning with the help of my parents. And very thankfully, it was not one of those like, he loves to act, he loves acting kind of things. It was, I actually did. I discovered voice acting when I was maybe 18, finally got a shot at it, and from there it just took off, where I felt I was no longer restricted by how I looked, whether my hair was the right length, whether I was the right build, tall enough, bright color eyes, and I felt so free. So I hope to do it well into my old age.
Carnell from Carnell Hollow Pictures.
Hi,
So
Carnell.
with your with Delicious in Dungeon, Now, with so many animes that deal with dungeon raiding, and this particular one is so nuanced, what makes this particular anime stand out amongst the rest?
I think there are so many different shows out there that click with different people. I think something that makes Delicious in Dungeon particularly special is the idea of two things coming together. One is found family, and two is seeing yourself in a character. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, I see so much of myself in Lyos. And to be frank with you, I also see so much of myself in Lyos. And we can be completely different people, but it doesn't matter. It's the feeling of being passionate about something, maybe being misunderstood at the same time, finding a place where you can shine a little bit, and when you break it down to those basic building blocks, who doesn't have something they can relate to about that? Who wouldn't, go to the ends of the earth for either a family member or a friend or a loved one or even a principal? I think those types of connections are what bring people to this show and keep them staying. And also the food looks really good.
Brent here with Geek Variants.
Hi, Brent.
Outside of voice acting, outside of video games, what kind of hobbies, activities do you like to do just to kind of unwind from, whatever stresses you have in your day?
Yeah, I am a bit of a workaholic, but thankfully all of the work I do is really fun. So I started Twitch streaming maybe 6.5, 7 years ago, and I always talk about my brain having sort of two tracks that are going at the same time. Streaming on Twitch allows me to occupy both. I am actively talking to a chat or an audience, and I am actively playing a game. And it feels like finally all of that scattered thought is just quiet. Dark Souls, a game that's known for being really difficult. I love that game. I play it over and over, and to me it's a rhythm game because of how you sort of move and you sort of get that natural feel. I will stream it and look away from the screen because I'm talking to chat because I feel that rhythm happening. It's almost like a dance going on, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but to me it's extremely comforting. Other than that, I usually bounce from hobby to hobby. I was a leather craftsman before I started doing YouTube channel stuff. That was my job, and it felt good to make things with my hands and see the work I did at the end of the day. I guess I'm still talking about work. But yeah, I'll do the ADHD thing, pick a hobby, fall into it for a month, and then on to the next.
Hi, Cheyenne from K-pop
Hi, Cheyenne.
One of my favorite squash pieces that you've done is Sword AF.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you want to ever be back on the off-camera creative part of, or creation part of the scenes, or any of your work that you do?
Yeah, I was very honored to be trusted with Sword AF. It was definitely my baby. It was a labor of love, and a lot of different people had a lot of different hands in it to make it happen. It was also my first time DMing. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I did it, but that being said, I know myself enough now, whether it is Dungeons and Dragons or voice acting or anything creative, I want to be your best soldier. I'm not the general. Writing and directing, things like that, maybe I can get through it. It's not where the passion lies. I want to go and have fun and play. So, but maybe one day, who knows? JD?
All right, so you said you can see yourself in the character in Dungeon Mesh. You can see yourself in what other characters that you haven't done have you watched over the years that you see yourself in and you can relate to, and why?
If we want to keep it to Delicious and Dungeon, I also relate to Kabru a lot. And it's funny because Laios and Kabru are often presented as sort of foils to each other, but Kabru is very analytical. He is very aware of how he's coming across to others. He's very aware of, sort of every part of the room and how people are moving. And while I do have those parts of me that are like Laios, that are excited about random things and get so, can't wait to tell you about this cool animal fact that I learned. I also find myself, if I'm at all introverted, I am extremely aware of what's going around. At a place like a convention, I can get recognized pretty often. And if someone is kind of behind me to the left, 20 feet away, I know that they're gonna come up and say hi in a couple minutes, when they work through it, because I also can sort of see their demeanor and, if they're nervous or not. So that's a Kabru move.
So as far as being a gamer,
Yeah.
what is your comfort game?
I know it's the least critically acclaimed of the series, but Dark Souls 2 is the one I played the most. I know it's the one I played the most because it was the one that started experimenting with multiplayer more than the others. So I played it with a few friends and just played the absolute heck out of it. That being said, I do love a good roguelike game. I've played a lot of, oh my gosh. Oh, I feel so bad because I wanted to give them a shout out and I can't remember what it was. Hades. Actually, that's a great one. Yeah, that wasn't the one, but I have played a lot of Hades, played a lot of Hades 2, some Dave the Diver, Balatro. I finally bit the bullet and downloaded it on my phone, and I resisted it for a long time because I was like, it's going to ruin my life, and I'm still going. I've been playing Infinity Nikki lately. I was like, Infinity fan. I feel like I'm a really weird balance between either just the scariest, most difficult Dark Souls style game, or Infinity Nikki, where you can unlock new outfits so you can play with your cat friends and pet animals. And like, yeah.
James from One Movie Podcast.
Hi, James.
Just looking through your IMDb briefly, I see that you were voicing Ryoga in Ranma 1/2.
Yes.
First, were you familiar with the character before doing it? Considering this is a re-release on Netflix in some extent, and what did you bring to the character this time around from a series that low-key is like kind of epic?
Yeah, I was very honored to be trusted with that role, and I knew that the show meant a lot to a lot of people. I don't think anything will ever replace the original of a show that did so well. I was really excited to add to what is out there for content for Ranma. I was aware of Ranma and Ryoga. I was aware of the characters. They were, you know, as you said, epic enough to just sort of be seen around, but I had not fully, you know, read anything or watched anything myself. What I brought to him was a sense of bullishness. Like, he is, you know, he turns into a pig, but he is a boar. He's very low to the ground and uses his weight and charges forward, and not just, you know, literally, but metaphorically. Everything he does, he sees that target and he's like, I'm gonna go straight for it, unless it's directions that he's given. But I think there's something fun about playing a character that has an extreme want and just doesn't have any other pretext to that want. He's gonna say what he wants and he's gonna do what he wants.
With this being Momocon's 20th anniversary and you being voice acting, you travel around the country to different cons. What is it like coming to a con like Momocon and meeting the fans that play your games or watch your animes or any project that you're in?
Yeah, Momocon has been particularly special to me. Like I said, I was raised in Georgia. You know, I worked in Midtown Atlanta 5 days a week, and there's something really special about, you know, moving away, pursuing something I cared about, you know, truly living my dream, and then coming back to my hometown and being greeted so warmly. Sorry, it actually gets me a little bit emotional. It's pretty special. You know, there were people like next to my signing line that were like, oh wait, what high school did you go to? I was in your class. And like, that kind of stuff just gives you chills. So it's very special. Beyond that, I mean, Momocon has been awesome. The people have been so nice. Everyone working here has been great. The convention center is like a labyrinth, and sometimes I'm worried that I will never actually get out when I need to. But other than that, it's been such a wonderful experience.
You've played so many beloved characters so far in your illustrious career. Is there a franchise or a specific type of genre for voice acting you really wish you could be a part of, or it's up and coming that you kind of have an eye on?
Yeah, you know, roles like Laios and Delicious in Dungeon were things that I didn't know existed 5 years ago. So I'm already playing some of my dream roles without realizing they were dream roles. That being said, you know, a prominent character in something like Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy. You know, I loved Final Fantasy VIII growing up. If they ever did anything with that again, God, I'd love to be any of the main crew. But to be frank with you, you know, as I discover new things coming, I am living my dreams. So I've got a wish list, but I won't be disappointed if I don't get to do those.
Be awesome.
Last question.
So what is a song that fits your favorite character you've played, or any of your characters? If you could pick a song to go with.
Ooh, that's such a good question. And it's a difficult question too, because I do the ADHD song thing where I will pick one song, I will listen to it for 1 week until I've squeezed all the dopamine out of it, and I'll forget about it for a long time. So whenever anyone's like, what's your favorite album, what's your favorite band? I'm just like, I don't know. Oh goodness, the one that comes to mind when I was going to record Van Arkwright for the Trail series, there's a song by Water Parks called, and I know what it's called, and I'm gonna pull out my phone to look up something else and ignore that, but I know what it's called. But I would like listen to it in the car on the way to recording. No, where is it? You are in my library. I mean, I'm not looking it up. Some abuse. In my light songs. Water parks. Sorry. Numb by Water Parks. I think the vibe fits Van very, very well. And I feel like he would listen to that in his truck. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, and that will be, right before we end the interviews, can you tell everyone how they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Damien Haas. That's Haas. It is that on all socials. I stream on Twitch. You can find me on TikTok. I'm still gonna call it Twitter, unfortunately. Instagram, wherever you can check. Blue Sky, Damien Haas. So thank you so much for your time, y'all. I really appreciate it.